Hi, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with the SAPI IP Business Talks, and today we want to talk about a very a hyped topic, definitely. So there is no conference, meeting, webinar where it is not discussed in the IP world, and this is basically the use of generative AI, large language models for patent drafting, basically which is really a hot topic today. And I'm very happy that I have Sebastian with me because Sebastian is really an expert on that, and not just like some others for the last some weeks. He's doing that for years now, and he's also running a Dplex page on the Digital IP Lexicon, which you see here, where he is explaining the usage of AI for patent drafting, and that is maybe one of the most important aspects here. That it is not that the AI is writing your patent. So that is maybe a strong misunderstanding of what's going on here. But it can support strongly the drafting process, and that is what I'm happy to learn today from Sebastian. He has also run a seminar. It was a face-to-face seminar with more than 70 participants here in Germany with the German Patent Attorney Association some weeks ago. And that was also, that shows that the patent attorney profession has a high interest in that. And the question is, how can it be used and how should we think about that? Sebastian, thank you very much for being here, for taking the time. My typical question to all of my guests is, how did you came into that strange field of IP?
Yeah. Thank you for having me, Alex. Yes, you asked this also in our last live interview, and I said, yeah, it was more accidentally. So I really can't tell you how it came. Yeah, it was accidentally in my master studies. I was looking for a job. What should I do afterwards? And yeah, it happened to be like this, and I'm very happy about it. I think it's also interesting how it come that I'm dealing with AI so much, because with AI I'm working for 15 years now more much longer than I'm really in the IP sector. And so even before I became a patent attorney, initially in research and also in software development, I was working with AI, and later then as a patent attorney, of course, also the patenting of AI. And now for several years, since OpenAI ChatGPT has been published or publicly available, of course, I'm also working actively using AI for my work. That means in the sense of practicing what we protect somehow. Yeah, it's really nice that AI become such a focus, something that I really enjoy to work with, and was very exciting before I even know about the job description of patent attorneys. Now it's still a huge part of my working life.
Thank you. Yeah. So, and we had already many discussions about that, and I think especially your page on the Digital IP Lexicon helps a lot to get it a bit clearer, so to speak. And we have already some comments on the chat, but I would like to start first with a question which I think is really pressing. So, your experience. So you conduct regularly practice-oriented workshops of using AI for patent attorney. So you're really on the forefront of that discussion, and you have a very good overview of the typical questions which are coming up here, and the learning needs, so to speak. So could you summarize that a little bit for us? What are these questions, or also what are maybe the misunderstandings which you
Mm.
face and which you discuss in your webinars, seminars? You're quite active there.
Yeah, I think what is most frequently asked is really just the basic question: what should, what can help AI at all? Yeah. So, what is the benefit of AI? It's really funny because it's somehow weird. Usually, with new technologies, innovations, you see clearly what it can do for you. Um, let's take a car. You know, you can drive faster, right? Let's take the internet. You see the benefits directly, even if you had a lot of skepsis in the beginning as well with these disruptive
Oh,
innovations. But with AI, it's somehow
excuse me,
different.
Sebastian. No, that. Sorry, but that's not
Mm.
true.
Yeah.
There is an I will make a link. Okay,
Mm. Mhm.
there is an extremely funny scene in YouTube available. I think 1995, 1998, something about that. And there was Bill Gates in the late night show from David Letterman. Okay, and Letterman just made fun of Bill when he tried to explain what
Mm.
the internet is and what you can do with the internet. And he always, Letterman always referred to some older technologies, which in that time, which were able to do the same. Okay. And that
Yeah.
is so. What I want to say is, I think it is quite normal that when new technology comes up, we have some difficulties to understand what exactly to do with it. Where there is this example of the when the industry tried to introduce the tablet PCs. And for
Mm.
many years, customers didn't know what to do with a tablet PC because it's not a laptop. So I just want to say it's I think it is sometimes at least tricky to understand what exactly can we do with the new technology.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. Like yesterday, I posted a LinkedIn post about a quote of Clifford Stoll. You have heard about him, and he said, 1995. The truth is, no online database will replace your daily newspaper. Yeah, about the internet. And 17 years later, this newspaper where this article has been published discontinued its print edition and was just available online from then. So this is exactly what you say. Yeah, in the beginning you had a lot of skepticism, and people really think, yeah, it's nonsense, it's overhyped. Yeah, it was the same with the internet as well, and so I agree. Yeah, but now I have the feeling most people know what the benefit of the internet is, and
Sure.
I'm I'm not like I grew up with the internet, of course, like in the 90s. I Yeah, I also wasn't so sure if it will replace the newspaper. Yeah, also later in the I don't know, 2000, 2010, maybe even, I was not really happy using a screen to read a newspaper, right?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
now you can't really believe that this was an issue because you're so dependent on this fast information that you get. And it has all to do with acceleration and
Yeah,
of your
maybe.
work. And yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe I agree 100% when when you come from an older technology and you switch to a newer one. So
Mm.
when you say reading a newspaper on a screen, so then you refer to the old technology, to the paper newspaper, and obviously that is strange. But meanwhile, we have really an adaptation of the formats. So the news channel adapted to first to the browser and then to the mobile internet, and now it don't feels like reading a newspaper. It is just reading
Mm.
news, and the formats have completely changed. And now it feels strange to have this huge paperwork in your hand, and you always feel that you have a time lag compared to online information, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. So I find this interesting, yeah. And a lot of law firms, they still depend on paper, yeah, to read files, to read state-of-the-art documents and everything else. So, and I also remember that it was in the beginning very hard for me to switch from paper to screen. And you're right, it has a lot to do with the format that you use. If you try to imitate what you have done before, then you don't get happy with this.
Yeah, yeah. I think that maybe these laptop iPad example fits here very well. So when you what there are these tech journals, yeah, and what they did is they compared tablet PCs with laptops, and what is the outcome? A tablet PC is an extremely bad laptop. Yes, it is something completely different, and therefore the use case is different. You work, so to speak, in a different way with a tablet PC, and you cannot just do the same thing like with a laptop. So, and here I would say it is similar, that also the working process have to be changed when you want to apply AI in patent drafting. So here's one I cannot see, unfortunately, in the studio, who it is, but I like that really, and that is a statement which is for me. I think that is somebody who is really open to that technology, and I agree 100% with that statement, that it helps me to think clearer, sharper, to get more opportunities. This is exactly what my experience is. How do you see that comment?
Who gives this comment? What is the name?
I cannot see that at the moment.
Okay.
We see that afterwards.
Okay. Yeah. So I would say it's a lot about what as you said, work transformation, the transformation of the way we work, and AI is an important tool that helps us to transform, to gives us new possibilities. And the interesting part is, I really think that a lot of the use cases that we benefit from, they haven't been even discovered right now. So there's still a lot to do, a big way that we have to go to find out how it can help us. And in the moment, it's just a lot of experimentation, which costs more time than it brings you efficiency in the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that falls back to the early 10 years of computers, of personal computers. So we had the introduction of the IBM PC in 1981, and then for 10 years companies invested heavily in computers, and it turned out that the efficiency or the productivity of the companies were not rising. We did not see in the gross domestic product this computer effect, simply because the problems which arose from the computers were so heavy that they completely compensated the productivity gains from the computer. I mean, that is also completely normal for new technologies, that you have learning costs when you introduce that. And that doesn't mean that it is not helpful. That means that we have to adapt in our before we get really efficiency out of it. I mean, that's also a bit logic, I would say. But again, what are the questions which you were asked in your events with the patent attorneys? Could you give us a bit insight here?
Yeah. So as I said, the first question is usually how can it really help me to be more efficient? Because a lot of people can't see it, and I think there's not an easy solution, because you first have to invest before you gain some efficiency or some benefits from it. The next thing is, most attorneys are usually interested in drafting. Yeah, this is one of the use cases that seems to be most important, which is sometimes a little bit surprising for me, because in my opinion, the low-hanging fruits are more the work with the post-publication documents for the prosecution, because there you don't have the confidentiality issues so much. Yeah, if you use AI for prosecution, for learning something about documents, as a ask you data feature that you may have heard of or may even use, semantic search, or for drafting your replies to an office action. If the patent application is already disclosed, already published, then you don't have so much a problem with the confidentiality. So you can use Cloud AI, which is sometimes has more performance. With the drafting, you have a lot of issues, not only technical issues, but also legal issues. You have this legal framework, especially the professional law here in Germany. Yeah. So in fact, it's really hard to use not only AI, but also cloud software in general in Germany for patent attorneys. You have to consider a lot of restrictions. You face a lot of requirements. And so the first step, using cloud software, is really difficult. The other option, a lot of people ask me about local AI. Another option is local AI, which is for me a very interesting thing, because this is also what we use in our law firm, and we're really very happy with it and use it for years now with a great experience. But this is not something for everyone, of course. You need technical IT knowledge to use it, to run it. But you don't have the confidentiality issues because it's completely on your own system locally.
I would say that that's maybe a question of some months, because NVIDIA has now delivered the first AI hardware, which it is the size of a book, okay, and you can put it on every desk, and it has an extremely high performance for LLMs. So I'm quite sure that this hardware issue for closed systems in offices, in law firms, shouldn't be a topic for next year. So it's simply done. It is available, and when you want to have it, you can buy it. Yes, of course, a cloud solution is for, especially for the drafting situation, not the perfect solution. And yes, there is a contract issue. There can be separated compartments where you can use it. That's also possible. But definitely the easiest way to do it is having your own hardware and your own LLM. So I don't see the issue here from a very practical standpoint.
I really love it to use it, and I really can suggest to at least have a look at it. And it's very fascinating. You may not know, but even OpenAI, the producer of ChatGPT, has an own open source model that you can use locally. And this is one of the most efficient models. It's even more efficient than most of the cloud models that you use usually. So this factor of this ratio between intelligence of the model and cost is also will be more important in the future, because now you can use cloud AI for a very cheap price. And I don't know if this will be still like this in the future, because producers and providers of this cloud software, they make a big loss every year, like a billion.
Yeah, but at the same time, we see that Mark Zuckerberg don't want that OpenAI makes too much money with it. So when it boils down just to use the LLM, we see that Meta again and again comes up with an open source solution, which is at least as good as the proprietary ones. And I'm quite convinced that this will going on, because there are, yes, OpenAI is playing the OpenAI game and Gemini is playing the Gemini game for Google, but it will turn out that these different providers have different strategic interests, and one key strategic interest of Meta is that that they don't want to see that these proprietary systems are too successful with what they're doing. And one of the major counter strike is giving it open source. and these models are that good that there is no need to use ChatGPT in the cloud. There is no necessity for that, I would say.
Yeah, it's interesting what you say. I also see this, and I think it can be a big problem in the future, especially for companies like OpenAI. I mean, they're too big to fail, right? OpenAI is now not only innovation; it's infrastructure, especially in the US. So yeah, we will see what is
Yeah,
what is developed.
but I would say they have to show that they are in a situation where they have to show how they want to make money. So at the moment, it's a big investment game. Yesterday, I made on LinkedIn a post where I picked up a figure from a podcast which I'm listening very heavily to, and they said that there is a Harvard economist who calculated that 94% of the growth of the US economy as such comes from the investments in AI. So this is an unbelievable number,
Mm.
and they would have a growth rate of around 0.2% without AI. So, like Germany, for example, which means AI is the dominant factor. And this is typical that the the US economy is very good in adopting very fast new technologies and having a very liquid financial market. And so we see what we see. And is it a bubble? Yeah, of course, a bubble. I mean,
Mm.
yeah. So sooner or later, we will see anyhow a market correction for that. But at the moment, OpenAI has to show how they want to make money, and this is definitely not with patent attorneys. This is simply the mass market, and whether it is shopping or it is porn or entertainment, we will see how it turns out. At the moment, they do everything, like creating music is the next big thing what they also want to integrate in ChatGPT. So I would say these 20 euros which they charge us at the moment is not the way to get this amount of money which they need following their current investment plans, which are public.
Mm. Yeah, it's really interesting. Like publicly, AI is overrated. Yeah, it's a bubble, but this shouldn't bother us as patent attorneys because for us in our field, it's still underestimated. Yeah.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
this doesn't mean this bubble, even if there's a bubble, doesn't mean that we shouldn't continue pursuing AI solutions and integration. I also think the real competitive advantage isn't just using AI. AI is not the thing that will make our business better. It's knowing how to use it, how to integrate it, how it can add value for us. And I think what I also see and observe in the process of becoming ready to use AI, you get the process makes a lot of brings a lot of benefits for yourself. Let's say you're still working with paper files, and now you have the idea because you're triggered to use AI because you see it as necessary. The first steps that you have to take is not to install the AI software. It's to find out how to digitalize your business, and I think in the process you really get a lot from it, even more than by the language model itself, because this is
Yeah,
just an algorithm,
yeah.
right?
I think you touch a very important point here because sometimes I have also the feeling that, I mean, first of all, it is a typical European perspective to talk about a technology in terms of what this technology cannot do. Yeah, so
Mm.
where are the limitations of the technology compared to a discussion what can be done with it? I mean, that's the opposite perspective on the whole show, and that leads ultimately to the question, where do you stand in the digitalization or digital transformation? Because digital transformation is not a question of using digital technologies. It is a kind of mindset, and this mindset is obviously not talking about what a technology cannot do. It is the question, how can we adapt to digital technologies, and for example, yeah, to organize the whole work in a digital way. And Corona did a lot that we have now with these video calls, and law firms start to work much more digital with the client. So these new work paradigm. But I agree 100%. The usage of AI and LLMs don't start with getting access to the software. It is the question how digital you are, and this is not just a question of using paper. This is a question of your mindset. How do you want to work in the future? And I mean, that is what I also from your colleague Börs, I learned that you are a very, very digital law firm. And I talked with him in Strasbourg. I invited him to come to Strasbourg and to present to the master students. And that is fascinating how open you are as a law firm to really to embrace digital technologies and digital thinking.
Yeah, I agree. You need a change of mindset. Yeah, you need a digital and innovative mindset. I don't completely agree because, like, I think the German skill of talking about drawbacks and the negative sides can also be beneficial when it comes to AI. Especially when I'm teaching about AI, I see there are a lot of misconceptions. Yeah, and if you, it's a weird technology because it seems to be very intuitive, but it is not. Yeah, you need a knowledge about it because it's quite complex. And the intuitive expectations that you have are usually not the right ones. It's not working like this. It's a use that is usually different as you expected because you're using language. It seems to be very easy. Yeah, some people even say you need psychological strategies to use AI, which is not true. Yeah, it's AI has a bias in everything. It's because of the training data, but you can't really project psychological principles 101 to this. And the other thing is the results, the output of AI. It seems to be quite intuitive. It seems to be quite plausible. It seems to be intelligent, but it's not. The language is really great, and it seems to be good, and it seems to be plausible. But this is the tricky part, to find the hallucinations, to find where it has wrong conclusions, because AI, and I really want to say it explicitly, I believe most of the listeners today will know it, but AI cannot really think. Yeah, it cannot really make conclusions. The expertise is still with us. It's not with the AI. So
Yeah,
you need
I got you.
the human expertise.
I mean, yes, we as humans have a strong tendency as soon as something is talking with us to humanize that. So this is with the cartoons, for example. Disney invented it, but before we had this with puppets, and it's always the same. As soon as something is talking, we think it should be any kind human, but this is obviously a misconception. And that goes back to the 80s, 60s with Eliza
Eliza effect, yeah.
and these first chatbots, so to speak. And now I agree completely that understanding the deficiencies or the limitations, the understanding that makes a lot of sense, and it's important to have a very good understanding of the limitations. That's not my point. But let's discuss about the use cases. So, which use cases do you see as the most important when we think about productivity and efficiency gains for patent attorneys?
Okay, so I think the most important is that you have a change of the way you work. It's less about It's less about producing text. This is something that I can do. It's more about verification. So I think it's not a single use case where you say, okay, it's about the drafting, it's about the prosecution, it's about the research. It's not so easy. Yeah, you have benefits in all of these different cases, but it's the augmentation that you have by AI. You know, this is what brings the value. It's that you're really fast now to retrieve information, to understand a document. That it really accelerates your understanding. You are the expert, not the AI, but the AI helps you to understand. Do you know what I
Yeah, but
mean?
what I really like, I mean, there is this discussion out there. So how many jobs will be killed or substituted by AI? And again, people try to explain that's not the point. Yes, from time to time there will be a complete job, a profession maybe substituted, like translators. Yeah, but
Mm.
most the biggest effect is that certain activities change because simply you can be more efficient when you use AI. And for that,
Mm.
I love the really these integration of AI now in the browsers. Because when you have always, yeah, so it is something to say, okay, I change now, I switch, I go to the AI, I work now with the AI. But having that directly in my browser, for example, GPT, or Claude or Gemini directly in Chrome, or in these new browsers from Perplexity now. And that changes completely how I interact with software, and it changes how I interact with content. So because
Mm.
simply I can ask directly the AI how to behave, how what should I do to get this or that outcome. Yeah, and I think that is a good example how processes change, how the way we work change due to AI. And it's not this one use case, it is more a gradual adoption of the working style.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's when you start using AI, it takes some time, but at one point you really see what it can do, and you really have to experience it. It's very difficult to explain. Um, it's I think one problem is that we have not discovered all use cases where it can where we have benefits. For example, this year the agentic AI became very popular, and a lot of solutions have been brought to market. Um, and I find that this can be very helpful, for example, for research, yeah, or for monitoring users. Um, and this has been possible only by agents because they can act quite autonomous. This autonomous behavior makes sense where you don't have really to make conclusions like expertise, where you don't need expertise. You just gather information, and if it's not working perfectly, if there's a high error tolerance, then it's okay. I think these are use cases where you really can benefit from AI. And yeah, we have to see how the development goes. And
Mhm. I
it's
have
not really so much about having the definite solution right now. You know, it's
Yes,
more about starting. Yeah.
got you. I have here a wonderful comment from Stephen, which I really likes. He says, I have a feeling that most AI systems are built such that once you start to question their results, they change their mind and quite often start to hallucinate when you continue questioning the results. Yeah, to a certain extent, it's not a bug, that's a feature. Because they are designed as people pleaser. And I would say this is a prompting issue, Stephen. Um, uh, yes, this is a behavior, this exists, obviously. But that is a question which you can relatively easy avoid by prompting in the right way. That from the very beginning, you explain what you don't want to see, and that the AI is correcting itself, and also the even better developed thinking processes help yeah, it is called thinking, but obviously it is avoiding hallucination and errors. But what is your impression on that, Sebastian?
Okay. Yeah. So there's one prompting technique that is called self-reflection, where you usually ask every time, "Are you sure?" To question the results. So this is actually a technique that you can use to reduce hallucinations. But if you convince the AI that the real result is not right, then you may get hallucinations. And as you said, hallucinations are not really an error. It's the nature of language models. So you can't get rid of them completely. It's more I would like to see more software developers building user interfaces that help to go through this verification process, because you have to verify all of the results, and you can't just prompt and say, please verify your answers. Yeah, this is something the human has to do. And,
Yeah, but nobody forbids you to go to the sources and to ask where comes that from, and why do you think that this or that is correct. And I had even the case that I have uploaded a document about a specific subject, and then I discussed with the AI, and then I said, where is that from? Okay, the AI told me something which I know which is not in this document, and I asked the AI, and then the answer was, "Oh, I ignored the document. I just speculated that it could be so."
yeah, sure.
So yeah, okay, that happens, and that means the zero trust should be there. It makes the heavy lifting. It is extremely an improvement in efficiency, but it doesn't mean that you can trust on everything what you get out. That is simply that simply happens. So
yeah, you should use AI only for tasks where it's faster to verify as if you do it yourself. If you don't follow this rule, then you will be frustrated quite quickly. So this is one of the limitations. Do you know Notebook LM? I'm quite sure you know it,
of
right?
course, I'm loving it.
Yeah. And you use it to ask questions about documents or about a collection of documents. And when you ask, you get the results, the answers, and it's really that they're not always right, but you always get a link to the source, right? So you can click through the answers and really check yourself. Is it right? Is it the source? Does it really say what it says? And this is how we work as patent attorneys with AI. Yeah, you get this kind of auto-completion results, and you have to go through this, and you have to decide, are you accepting it or not?
Otherwise, I'm working with Notebook LM a lot, and what I'm really loving is this functionality to create a chat about documents which you uploaded, and then you can ask the hosts of that chat, these AI-based hosts, you can ask them questions in via voice chat, and so that helps unbelievable to discuss things really, and to check how good is how deep is the understanding, sorry for saying that, in this case about the topic. And especially when things become complex, and when you have more than one document, that helps enormous to find a way through to understand um, the whole concept, the correlation, whatever, and to be simply faster to get through that.
Using a sparring partner, right?
Yes, exactly.
This is great, and this is for us attorneys a possibility to use it for claim drafting. You have your invention report. You make your own. You have your own ideas. You write your first claim, but then you use AI to challenge your claim. You use AI to have maybe more ideas. Sometimes hallucinations can be a feature here as well, because it gives you more ideas. Maybe it helps you to look out of the box. Yeah, the invention report describes a few things, but maybe the hallucinations help you to find out a little bit something beyond, yeah, which helps you to increase protection.
Yeah,
So
what I really like is talking about alternatives. Yeah, this is so hard to imagine alternatives, and this is so easy for the AI. And you can set borderlines, frameworks, conditions, and discuss that up and down and left and right, and in such a speed which would be impossible with human beings. So that would be so expensive, so not impossible. It's simply incredibly expensive that it is normally not done. So and to understand really this innovation space, the invention space, which should be claimed here. So to find out the dimensions of that, I think that is extremely helpful. So my final question, we have just 3 minutes left. Sebastian, when from your experience, you see a lot, you make all these events. So where do we stand today about the change how patent attorneys work with the use of AI? So is that a reality? Is it something which will come? So what would you say where we are right now?
So you mean if how many use AI already, or
Yeah, for
more the
example.
perspective for the future? Yeah.
No, I would say where do we stand right now? Because
Okay.
the next question is, what do you see for the future?
So we're still in the experimentation phase, definitely. I think it's that attorneys use AI productively is really the exception. It's not something that you see so often right now.
But would you
Which makes
say
sense.
that,
Which makes sense somehow, right? In this
would you
business,
say,
in this profession.
yeah. The question is, would you say that it is or it becomes a competitive advantage for
Um,
companies?
yeah, it will be a competitive advantage in the future. I'm very sure about it. It's you will have the pressure to be more efficient, and you have to find a solution how to do it. And AI is the tool for it. Maybe you find another solution. I don't know, but I guess AI is the main tool to achieve this.
Got you. Yeah, thank you very much. We have lots of comments, so please stay with us in the after show party on LinkedIn and give your perspective and maybe answers also to the audience. Thank you very much to all of you. Thank you, Sebastian, for staying with us, for taking the time to explain us that. We will observe that very close, what's going on in that field, and to the ones who are interested in that field, at November the 27th, Bastian Best will with us on a different perspective, but same topic, so to speak. He says that AI generated invention disclosures are a problem. When people think the AI was inventive and it wasn't, or it is not fully disclosed, and so on. So November 27th, we will talk about that. And I'm happy to see you again. And for the ones who want to work with us to become subject matter expert, our call is still open. We are still able to work with you and happy to do so. Sebastian, thank you very much also for being a subject matter expert on IPBA Connect and working with us and running this Dplex page and all the other content which you make available to the community and especially to the users of the IP system. That helps a lot. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
So bye-bye. Enjoy your afternoon.